Okay, super. So today's session is session 10, keep every lead. We're gonna just jump right in. Yesterday we talked about capturing more leads. We talked about, we went from becoming the real estate expert, and that was our first week. We went then into lead generation, and we covered a couple different topics last week, and it spilled over into this week with lead generation and the different types of lead generation that you could be moving through. And we touched on that. So we had open houses, we had social media. Yesterday we had some really great ideas regarding farming and potential events, and we'll go into stuff like that in more detail with our enrichments. But then today now that we've captured all these leads, now what are we going to do with it? So the next phase is like the cultivation. So lead follow-up is what we're going to be moving into. Okay, super. So, and then this week, what you can expect will be follow-up with leads and strengthen relationships. Then Friday, we'll be having a guest speaker, Melissa Hernandez with the Darwalden team. She'll be demonstrating how to host, how to hold a buyer's consultation. And this is very helpful. I suggest that you practice your buyer's consultations. Sometimes it'll be fairly straight and simple, finding needs and wants of buyers, and other times it could be a bit more complex. It depends on your client. We will be going into buyer's consultations next week. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start, that's okay. Don't worry about it. This Friday, you'll get to see it in action. And then next week, we will cover Win the Buyer and how to put together a buyer's consultation. What does that look like? And for those of you that are in the PC program, I think all of you are in our PC program, in our Google Drive. I have a collection of things, even where to start. Like, what do you do when you have a buyer and you're starting to work with a buyer? I have a sheet that says start here. Like, this is where you begin. And there's a ton of hyperlinks in there with instructions and also forms. So if you see any wording in blue, click on it because it'll lead you to either a buyer intake sheet or a video. So I just mentioned that because I know some of you are already like, hey, I'm already talking to buyers. So I want to make sure that you know that you have resources. Reach out to me and I'll walk you through it and we'll be able to move forward from here on out. Okay. All right. So today's agenda, we're gonna talk about what is lead follow-up, how to lead follow-up, post lead follow-up, and we'll go over recaps. And then we'll touch on our daily success system. All right. So you guys have seen this graph before, nothing new. And this is like the life of a lead. So historically, we've seen, in economic like reports, they take a look at, okay, how often are people moving historically? Sometimes that number can shrink depending on the demographic. And I just say, that happens with military folks mostly. And then typically we see them moving between 7 to 10 years. So if we know this trajectory and we know where people land, it's good to have conversations. Maybe that's a conversation starter when you're talking to someone and they're asking you about, well, how's the real estate market? Fantastic. Why do you ask? And then as you have a conversation with them, maybe asking them, how long have you lived in your home? Or how long have you lived in the area? Maybe that's planting a seed, allowing you to know kind of where are they at in this bell curve. So, all right, so let's keep going. Okay, So we're going to talk about this. This is lead follow-up, basically a framework. So then you have possible business, probable business, and then profitable business. I want to check in with you guys. What do each of these mean to you? Like if you had to guess, what does possible business versus probable business versus profitable business mean to you? You guys go ahead and unmute yourselves and just take an educated guess.
The possible business is your sphere of influence. Probable business is a lead, and then profitable business is a lead that turns into a client.
Yes, yes, exactly. Precisely. You know, basically anybody out there, it's not even just your sphere of influence, but anyone out there that you either know or you haven't met yet, that's possible business. Um, whether they're ready now or not. And then probable business, you're right, exactly. As someone you've probably already connected with, they're looking. You especially get probable business, when you're hosting open houses, people are coming there because most of them, I would say 9 out of 10 of them are thinking about real estate. Other people just like to visit homes. It's interesting how often I've hosted an open house, and then there are people who they just enjoy like looking at houses and getting ideas about decor or how, the layout of a home. And to them, it's like a hobby. They enjoy doing that. So, um, but then, for me, it's like still stay in touch with them because they're going to have to move eventually, right? So, yeah, absolutely. So, the 2021 National Association of Realtors profile of home buyers and sellers details the opportunity that lead follow-up can provide for your business. So, listen to this. They collected research that shows that when selecting an agent to use, 73 of buyers only talk to one agent. I'm going to say that again. 73% of buyers only talk to one agent, and 82% of sellers only contacted one agent. Those are pretty big numbers, guys. So since the data shows that most buyers and sellers only talk to one agent before deciding to do business with them, what do you do to ensure that you're the one agent that everyone in your database? What would you do about that? Like if you know that they've only talked to one agent, what is your number one job?
To keep them.
Yeah, to stay top of mind. And we do this by keeping in touch with them. Yeah, staying top of mind because then they're like, oh yeah, oh, that's right. Stephanie reached out to me and oh, I saw her email. Let me reach out to her, right? Instead of who was that person I met at the open house? I think it's important to like have a plan on how to keep in contact with people, and stay top of mind. Yeah, excellent. So here's this quote. If you aren't first or second in their mind, you probably won't get the business. So precisely what we've been talking about, staying top of mind. And we'll talk about how to do this. But so here's a couple questions. Thinking back to the day you learned about lead generation, what touches are the strongest when it comes to relationship building? And what about the weakest ones? So which type of touches do you believe are the strongest type of touches when you're lead generating? So to refresh your memory, it is we're face to face, meeting people in person, or voice to voice. that is the strongest type of touch. The reason for that is you want to feel another person's energy. There's more connection versus a text. So really, email and text are the weakest way to form connections and bonds. So when we are following up with our leads, it's important that we have a variety of touches. So when we're putting together a touch plan, this is a follow-up plan. It's going to hold a variety of touches so we stay that top of mind. So it'll include voice to voice, maybe in person, emails, text. So, and then whichever ones, you'll see as we go along to see which ones are most effective for you. Okay. Okay. So we're going to go right into lead follow-up. So if you have your participant guide in front of you, I'd like you to turn to the Fortune is in the follow-up Mindshare page. It's in your participant guide. We are in session 10. And just like our intention is to be strategic with your lead generation efforts, you should also be strategic with your lead follow-up efforts. Okay, so we really want to be thoughtful on follow-up and leveraging the highest value touches. And then that way we can observe like they typically yield great results to convert leads to a higher level. We want to convert leads to contacts. Okay, so mind share is gained through positioning yourself in front of your leads frequently with relevant and timely information. I'm going to say that again. Mind share is gained through positioning yourself in front of your leads frequently, and that's the key word, frequently, with relevant and timely information. The goal is to open the door for two-way communication. That's really what we want. When you're doing the SMART system, your daily tasks to be able to contact 10 people, having a two-way conversation, either via text, in person, or over the phone, that's what's going to build a relationship and trust. So, and then we also want to make sure that that you're asking the right questions, that you're offering items of value. It's huge. So through Ignite, you've been introduced to two different systems that engage your leads and contacts and help you gain mind share. So what are these systems? The first one here under leads is 19 to connect. And then the second one is 36 to convert. All right. So let's take a look at them. Let's look at what's under leads, 19 to connect. So this engages, this is like 19 touches every year. So 4 touches are quarterly phone calls. And then 12 of those touches are monthly emails, newsletters, a market report or a video. And 2 of those touches are promotional direct mail. It could be a magnet, a calendar, printed market report. And then 1 touch could be an event, like a party, a movie screening, or a get-together. Okay. And then 1 to cement, that this is in the center. So a high value touch that solidifies the relationship that you have just established and opens the door for future interactions, right? And then here under contacts, 36 to convert. So I'm sorry, I actually realized I said this backwards. So we collect contacts and we want to be able to convert them into leads. Sometimes we already have leads where we've had like a two-way conversation. And then I feel like oftentimes we collect people's information and I see this happen a lot. It's happened to me until you get a good system in place and you remain top of mind. But it could be that you capture someone's information, you reached out to them maybe once or twice, they're not responsive, so then you stop. And that really isn't helping you. They often say that it requires 7 asks, even if you get 7 no's, before you get a yes. So 7 touches, you're reaching out, you're asking for the business at different times. We're not inundating them with that, and not every touch or every call is asking for business. Some of it are just items of value. Sometimes the call could just be like, hey, you crossed my mind, or I happen to be driving through your neighborhood. How are you doing? Or how's the family? Or tell me about life. You can use the forward questions. But these systems, these touches are there to help you find connection and stay top of mind with your clients. Think about the mail that you get if you if you have insurance, or a particular professional, maybe a doctor or a dentist's office, like um do they send you emails with, or wish you like a happy birthday? Do they send you birthday cards? Um, do they send you like coupons? Like, think about a business that does this very well. There are some professional businesses that will, send Christmas cards out. They'll have events. Maybe they'll have a client appreciation thing. They'll have emails with helpful information. That's basically what you're doing. You are the professional just reminding people of what you do, and then you stay top of mind. So that way, when you're like, oh yeah, that's right, I need to go see the dentist. That dentist is right there because you've gotten mail from them, and you just remember that, okay, this is who I need to go see. Um, but anyway, so going over to contacts, you've got 36 to convert. See, it mirrors the leads portion. So you've got 4 touches, telephone calls, 26 touches, so a bit more. It's a bit more heavy. So biweekly email offering some type of information of value to the consumer, right? 2 touches, it could be events, get-togethers, parties. Mm, I remember we talked about like tagging your clients or your contacts, knowing what some of their interests are. Um, our very last enrichment class at the end of Ignite will cover micro events. And Amanda Charles is very good at this. I know Helen has done these as well, but it's a great way to connect with people and just, yeah, connect with them and get to know them better. All right. Let's make sure I got everybody in our room. Thanks for your patience, guys. Okay, I got you guys here. Okay, super. All right. So we touched on 19 to connect, and we talked about kind of the parts of that. And when do you think a lead should be added to your 19 to connect touch campaign? When do you think we should be adding them to that?
When we first touch.
Yes, exactly. You should add them immediately. So in Command, there's a way to add smart plans. There are some that are already designed for you. And you can look to see that, copy that into your own smart plan and use it or tweak it and make it your own. All you have to do is to type in 19 to connect and make sure you have a cadence here, like quarterly phone calls, and then you'll get reminders. And as you log into Command daily, as you should, you'll see the tasks that are there. Like, okay, who do you need to reach out to today? What is your job today? And it can break it down for you in bite-sized pieces. Absolutely. So immediately, the idea here is speed to the lead. So you really want to make sure that you're solidifying the relationship here. So this is how quickly you reach out after a lead has engaged with you. Your speed to lead should be rapid. Like we're in an era where it's like instant gratification. People want information now. They have information at their fingertips all the time. So if someone's reaching out to you, you need to be able to communicate with them very, very quickly. So if a lead entered your database through a social media post, consider how quickly that person has already moved on to engaging and reacting with other social media. So same thing, if you're receiving a lead on social media, answer that immediately. Like, don't delay because they could be reaching out to another agent and that agent could connect with them, and then you've lost the opportunity. All right. Okay, let me get a couple of you to help me read through some of these. Let's actually just read one and then let's pause and think about it. So lead follow-up best practices, considerations for your lead follow-up program. Jeremy, can you read the first question for me?
Yes. What are my strengths when working with people? How can I adapt the touches of 19 to connect to represent me?
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that. What are your strengths when working with people?
Charm and charisma.
Uh-huh. Yes, exactly. People like you. And so each of you think of that. What are your strengths? We've talked about, what value do you bring? What's your superpower? And so how can we adapt some of these touches to represent who you are? And just to refresh your memory, look, a quarterly phone call. We have changing of seasons. What do you enjoy? What don't you enjoy? What, is there a holiday around there? What activities are happening around that? Think about that. Just bring you to the conversation. How would you connect with friends? What would you talk about each quarter? Or a newsletter? What are your likes? What's your superpower, right? Or if you like to do certain things and let's say you have a hobby or you like pets or you like ice cream. Like, what if you did an ice cream social? Like, really finding your niche and what speaks to you. Okay, next. What are some reasons I might have for contacting the lead? And what are some touches to do before and after a phone call? What do you guys think? What are some reasons I might have for contacting the lead? And this is applying to the 19 to connect.
Holidays are always great, but just saying hi and catching up.
Mhm. Exactly. Sometimes people just appreciate the fact that you thought of them. I think that's so it's special. I mean, even the ones you're like, oh, I didn't think they would appreciate a phone call from me, but they do. And there's always an excuse. I'm always like, hey, I was driving past your neighborhood and or like let's say you don't have a relationship with them and you're like, you know what? We're getting inundated with snow and I just wanted to check in on you. How are things going? Are are is this your first winter here? Um, are you in need of any assistance? I feel like Russell, are you in need of any assistance? But it's like, You are looking to see how can you be the connector? How can you problem solve? Find a way to help. Oops, what happened here? Sorry, guys, I am having technical difficulties today.
If you want to hear a funny story real quick,
Yeah, tell me.
yesterday I was out shopping and um, potatoes were on sale, and I knew a friend that loves potatoes, and I just ended up texting them. Um, and now we're meeting today. Uh,
Yay! Wow, way to
so
go.
yeah, it was just a random, hey, I saw potatoes on sale and I thought of you. And and then it turned into real estate. So
Wow. Hey, I that's and we're gonna put that in the memory book. I love that. That makes me so excited to hear. All right, sorry guys, I got kicked out. Wow, that's great. So I'm always happy to hear stories like this because you never know until you have a conversation with someone, right? Love it. Okay. So how am I using conversations to let the person know I'm in real estate? Hey, you can call them about potatoes on sale or how to contact me and how to refer business to me. Remember, we talked about this week. Like you have to tell people what your expectation is. How do you ask for the business? And what is the expectation? Remember? Like we have to just ask. We can't just give them your business card and hope that they'll call you. Be proactive and think the other way. Like, oh, I'd love to stay in touch. What's a good number? And I promise I won't spam you. Like, just having a conversation with people, like, put yourself in their position and think about, like, hmm, come from a human, like, relationship based conversation. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Okay. And then when is it best for me and my business to time block for lead follow-up? I'm going to say that's really individual to each one of you. Some of you may be busy during the day working another job. Others of you like might be like, this is my only gig. I gotta hit it hard. So figure out when you're going to time block to do your lead follow-up. So look, your number one job is to lead generate. And it's great. You can generate all the leads in the world. But if you're not following up on those leads, you're missing opportunities. Remember when we broke down commission at like per person? Like, hey, this person could potentially be like a $7,000 commission. And or this is a $7,000 phone call. Like, would you not make a phone call and not make $7,000 for like a 15-minute phone call? So that's something to think about. Like, are you leaving money on the table? And then also, how much time should it take to reach out to a lead? And what will I do to hold myself accountable? And what do I need to do to make sure this happens? So let's break it down. So how much time should it take to reach out to a lead? What do you guys think?
instantaneously.
Oh, yeah, immediately. Absolutely. As soon as you can. So, I would say if it's more than 24 hours, you've probably lost the opportunity. Potentially. Depends. But it's something I would just say it's something to really take into consideration. And then what will you do to hold yourself accountable? Give me some ideas. I want to hear from several of you. How
Well,
will
for me,
mm-hmm.
oh, for
Go ahead.
me, it would be, first off, just putting it into a smart plan and command, so I know my time. But then, yeah, just you know, I just put that pressure on myself.
Yeah. So how do you hold yourself accountable?
uh, I don't, I just don't want to get anxious about it, so I just do it.
Great. Yeah, that's great. So you're accountable to yourself. That's great. And for those of you who are like, man, I just need some motivation, like it's well, like what if you have an accountability partner, right? If you were role playing with them and hey, like I just want to make sure like if I get this done, like have somebody check in, at the end of the week and then you check in with them. Like, hey, all right, let's go through things. Yes, 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 or no, no, no. What did we reach out to X amount of contacts, whatever your goal is. And look, hey, your PC coach can be your accountability partner. We'll check in weekly, like, hey, did you did you do what you said you would do? And if not, what got in the way? No shame, blame, or guilt. It's just about mm, bringing awareness to you know what your job is, and you've got to just stay hyper focused. And like we talked about before, this type of job, you don't have someone saying, "Oh, you didn't clock in 9 to 5, like you're not getting paid." Like, um, this is different than a 9 to 5 job, in a way that you have to be accountable to yourself. You have to show up. It's easy to kind of slack off. This is kind of like moving from high school to college. Like you have all this freedom and freedom of time. How are you going to manage your time and make sure that you get the big rocks taken care of before you fill it in with other things, right? So just something to keep in mind. Also, some things to consider when following up with leads are match the touch campaign with your strengths. So we talked about that. There's like we touched on that. Be prepared when you reach out with the reason that you're calling or contacting the lead. For example, sending market information as the touch prior to the phone call. So if you happen to send out like a market update, then what a great opportunity to follow up. Hey, I just want to follow up and make sure that you got this. It's an opportunity for a conversation. Also, making sure each time you communicate with the lead, they know that you're in real estate and they also know how to reach you and how to refer business to you. And then know when you're going to complete your daily lead follow-up tasks. This should be time blocked as a separate activity from your lead generation time. So if you've already protected your time on, okay, this is what I'm going to do for lead generation. And by the way, lead generation could look different for every single one of you. It might not be phone calls. It might just be my lead generation is open houses. And my lead generation is following up with the leads from the open house. My lead generation is door knocking to meet new people, and meet neighbors. So that type of lead generation could look different than calling people every single day. Or maybe your lead generation, like Helen pointed out when she was at our enrichment course, or she was there as a panelist and we were interviewing her on like her social media tactics. She didn't want to make phone calls. Her lead generation was social media. That's what she poured her attention into. And it blew up and made like she's closing like she closed 13 million last year, and this is barely her second year in business. So it's just about finding connections and finding what your superpower is. It's not a one size fits all. It's what is important is how you choose to block your time and what you're committed to doing. Okay. And then also setting your standard to speed to lead. So what time frame do you expect yourself to communicate with the lead? And that's important. There are some times where I'm like, I'm focused on family And this is what I'm doing to focus on my family right now. And I choose not to work. Other times there may be like, I just need to touch base with this lead, make sure that they know who I am, and it doesn't need to be a long conversation. I can at least connect and then follow up with giving them more of my time later on to be able to dig deeper into what their needs are. Make sense? So you cater it to you. I don't ever want you all to feel like you're a slave to real estate. Remember, it's always, at least the KW belief system is God, family, and then business. So whatever your belief system is, whatever higher power belief that is, your family, whatever that unit looks like, your close inner people, and then business. Business comes after those two things. Because if you're working and you're busy and entrenched in that, but you're forgetting everyone else, why are you doing it? So I just want to make sure that you have the right mindset and the right idea behind it before things take over. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So now that we've had to, had time to think about and design your own 19 to connect plan, so that way you can implement it easily. Like we have these ideas, like we know what it takes. It's the 4 calls, maybe 4 texts or conversations. Remember, the highly powerful ones are the voice to voice, or connecting with them. Sometimes I like to connect with people in person and meet them for a cup of coffee. Then you have the 12 email, newsletter, market report, video, whatever works for you. And it could be a combination. Here they give you some great examples, and they also show, like, is there a cost? There's no cost for calls or texts or conversations. Birthday cards are minimal as far as costs. Market reports, you're just sending an email, unless you choose to mail it as well, which could, it's nice to have like a combination, right? Informative, oh my goodness, informative videos, easy peasy. Record it and then just send it out. You can send it via text, send it via email, whatever works for you, right? And then a neighborhood newsletter. Sometimes you could do like, I know some people have done like video newsletters. Find what your superpower is and do that. Promotional direct mail. So like we've given examples of like calendars or magnets, swag, some type of swag. You can do like letter openers, or if there's like a local team schedule or an annual calendar, like once you're making money, then do this. The key here is, what I really want you to know is lead with revenue. Make some money, set aside a budget for marketing. I think that's important. Have a marketing budget. So when you get your first commission check, you're putting money aside for taxes, but also think about this. Set aside a budget for marketing. That way, oh, I want to buy this promotional item, or oh, I want to be able to host something. If you're putting money away for marketing, then that's great. Like you have different buckets to save towards. So just something to think about. Events, and by the way, some of this stuff, you can also have sponsored, like if you connect with a lender or someone from title, if there's something that you want to partner with an affiliate on, then they totally can help offset some of that cost. So just something to think about. Okay. So when you've generated a lead and captured their information, you can talk to them. If you haven't heard back and you don't know much about the person, then your communication may be broader, right? So focusing on a range of values. This is where you'll communicate your value with your own value proposition. We covered this on day 4 of Ignite. And if this is a little kind of fuzzy for you, look back at session 4 in your participant guide, because it'll actually walk you through how to put together your value proposition. You can even use the company or personal stats and data. Leverage that to be able to offer items of value or information. And we know people are more likely to respond when the message you're communicating feels personal and relative to them. So think about how you'd like to be communicated with. It's not always like, if you're thinking, oh, I don't want to sound salesy, then don't. The best way to communicate with them is just, hey, just checking in, just I'd love to be offer some education or guidance or whatever that looks like for you. Like, what would you like to offer that's of value? Or, hey, I remember that, hey, I know that you're looking at this. Is this, are you looking to move to the area? How quickly? Do you, are you new to Alaska? Just finding ways to connect with them, right? And so then as you engage with your leads, you can uncover how to serve them better and learn what they're interested in. And we use that Ford method to kind of uncover some of this. And as you learn this, you're going to start to segment your leads into different groups. So we talked about that on day 6 of Ignite, how to tag your leads. That way, okay, we're putting all the people who are interested in, who have dogs or love pets into this group. So that way, if something of value comes or there's an event regarding pets, we can send it to this group, right? And then also, relevant conversations have more value, especially when you know that they have an interest. They're timely and lead to a greater opportunity for future conversation, right? And then also look beyond the who when you contact the lead. So basically, you want to craft your message based on the source the lead was generated from. Were they buyers? Are they a buyer lead? Are they a listing lead? If they came in through social media about first-time home buyers, sending them an investment property newsletter might not be so relevant for their current motivation. So think about that. Think about, where did these leads come from and how are you going to communicate with them? And then once the door is open for two-way communication, you're going to use conversations to find the motivation and engaging with your business. Find out what their timeline is and possibly other interests. So you use this information to help group them. And remember, when you're finding out what their timeline is, you can categorize them as A buyers, B buyers, or C buyers, or maybe they're sellers. A buyers are the ones who are like ready now, like they need to move in the next 3 months, 0 to 3 months. Maybe B buyers are the ones that are like, okay, maybe 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year. And then definitely the C buyers are the ones a year and beyond. So you want to be able to categorize them based on motivation as well. Okay. Any questions so far? How are you guys doing? All
No
right.
questions.
Yes. No questions?
Yeah, no questions. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I didn't hear you very well. So I'd like you to turn to Communicate with Value page in your participant guide. All right. So once you know the source of the lead, you can narrow your range of value. Knowing the source of the lead helps to inform you on how you can pair a value with your communication. For example, a lead generated through a client referral will be communicated differently from a lead that came from a phone call. So you're going to be completing an activity by brainstorming statements. and questions that you can use when communicating with different lead sources in your database. These statements and questions can be incorporated into your 19 to connect touch campaigns. So if you're turned to that page, go ahead and start that activity and consider like the lead sources that you already have in your database. Take that into consideration. And if you're not sure where to start, think about maybe referrals, open houses, or social media, since those activities you've learned about and engaged since starting Ignite. So on the screen, you can see potential lead sources that you might have in your database. So go ahead and fill that out. And then next, you're going to record your top lead sources you're focused on in your participant guide. What are your top lead sources that you'd like to focus on? And then my question to you would be, write statements or questions that you could use when communicating with that segment or group of contacts. And so, for example, for a call, you can write statements that can uncover their motivation, like, why are you thinking about buying or selling? Tell me more. What will that do for you and your family? Take a few moments, write those things down. Go ahead and write that down. I'll be right back. All right, what questions have you guys come up with? And what areas of focus will be your lead sources? So anyone.
I just said open houses for one of mine, and what's drawing you to this area or this floor plan if it's like a newer construction.
Beautiful.
So you can try and get, why they're wanting that area, but also I think it can lead into deeper conversations of why they're moving and what they're truly looking for.
Absolutely, yes. For sure. That's a good one. We want to uncover their motivation. That's a really good question. Anybody else? What other questions have you guys come up with? And by sharing, this is helping others. All right, we'll keep going. Thank you for sharing, Stephanie. All right. We'll keep going. And we're going to try to end a little early because we have our stakeholder meeting, and just FYI, it's Brian's birthday today. So make sure to text him or send him an uplifting message. All right. So we're going to go into post-lead follow-up. Post-lead follow-up. So when two-way communication is established, the lead becomes a contact in your database, right? So then you move that person from the 19 connect to the 36 to convert. Okay. I don't know why in my brain I want to like flip it, but I guess a lead comes in from prospecting and marketing, as you can see at the very top of your screen. It goes into your database, and you have like two types. You have a lead. You need to form a relationship with leads. They're coming in. You don't have like an established relationship with them. So I apologize if my brain wants to say, you got to make a contact one way or another. No, no. It has to go basically from lead to contacts. And once they're a contact, that means you've had a two-way conversation with them. Maybe you've asked them about their living situation. You've learned a little bit about them. You've built some rapport. You've had a two-way conversation. And you want to strengthen that relationship. You've earned their trust, right? So then you're moving from the 19 connect to 36 to convert. And then you cement that relationship. Okay. All right. So here, this center portion at this point, this is where once you've had that two-way conversation, you're going to cement that relationship. So everyone in your database should be cemented right when you transition them to the 36 to convert. So I want you to refer to the post lead follow-up page in your participant guide. What do you think the purpose of One to Cement Touch campaign is? Oh, we kind of touched it, and it tells you right here. It's definitely to cement that relationship. You want to really have a high value touch that offers like a really first great impression and sets the tone for your relationship together. How do you wish to carry yourself as a licensee? Whether you choose, whatever you choose here should serve more than one purpose. So, a few things. This touch should tell them about the service you provide, help set up a conversation for later, serve as a reminder of the interaction, and tell them how to refer business to you. What are some things that you think you can use as leverage to kind of cement that relationship? Let's brainstorm. What are some things that you believe that would be meaningful to be able to offer value to your clients?
If you're dealing with a first time home buyer, I mean, I think just the whole process of being a first time home buyer, introducing them to lenders and like a buyer's guide.
Yeah, absolutely. Heck yeah. We, in fact, through Keller Inc., we have a book called Your First Home. I have it in the Wasilla office. I'll have to snap a photo of it. But that's a great resource. Like if you had several of those copies and you knew that you were dealing with first-time home buyers, wouldn't it be great to be able to give them an item of value? That's an item of value. It really, it's a great for a first-time home buyer lead. It costs a little bit, but that impression, like what if you put together like maybe a bag for showings, like you have a special bag or something put together where maybe you have bottles of water, some pens from title company, maybe a notepad from some other source. Like you don't have to pay for all of these things. Um, I love the idea of, yeah, what if you had maybe a relocation guide, like welcome to, let's say someone's relocating to the valley and you have a relocation guide with restaurants of the area, maybe resources for for vendors, maybe fun things to do as a family. I mean, just kind of introducing them to the area. I think that would be very helpful. So think about what it is that you'd like to provide. Or if you specialize in remote properties, like what if you offered like local hunting or fishing, or like, hey, here's a guide for, certain trails to explore for snow machining or great ice fishing destinations, or here are the lakes of the area. Um, It would be nice. What are the benefits? Like, here's my list of like pros and cons of of living in a remote place, or a checklist that you need if you're going to be purchasing a dry cabin. Like, what if you put together something of value and then you put together your own kind of kit to be able to hand off to someone like, hey, I have a gift for you. Thank you so much for trusting me to be your realtor. And I'd love to be able to get this to you. Great. Another excuse to set an appointment, and meet with them face to face. So, what are your thoughts? What do you guys think about ideas like that? What else would you add? I think we threw out a lot of great ideas. I think it offers opportunity for you to think outside the box. I think also, think about the client that is working with you currently. If you're talking to people, what is it that you'd like to be able to provide to them that is of value, right? I know some people will keep like waters and snacks in their car when they go out on showings with clients. And if you did like a little showing kit, or if you happen to know that they have little kids and you happen to have like maybe a little coloring book with some crayons or something, what can you offer them? Or maybe no crayons, right? Maybe it's just something fun to entertain the kids of all ages. Um, yeah. So anyway, just something to think about. All right. I think this wraps it up for us. Let me touch on a couple of things. We're going to talk about our success system. And like I said, this one was a real quick one, but it really talks about getting right into your database, getting into being able to organize it, being able to also know how do we keep in touch with them, and what do we do moving forward with organizing our smart plans. So getting into command and get comfortable with creating a smart plan. All right, let's take a look here. Success system. And again, you can use the KW help. There's a KW help button, and also the KWIQ that uses AI. So if you're curious about how do I create a touch plan, 19 touch plan for first-time home buyers, or for a buyer lead or a listing lead, it'll walk you through that. So my goal for you all today is to take one action step and do that today. Focus on creating a smart plan, maybe a smart plan for how to follow up with open house leads. And now if you've collected open house leads, what kind of touches can you create? Check in with in command and look to see what open house systems are in place. And we can walk through that here briefly so you could see what I mean by that. But let's touch on our daily success system. Remember to have those 10 conversations, 10 contacts added, 10 handwritten notes. Your 10-5-1, this is 10 likes, 5 comments, and 1 social media post, or a DM, direct message. Okay? I'm going to actually segue. Let us go and take a look at command. Okay, so remember here, we've got smart plans right here. So you can click smart plans, and then you have a library where you can totally look for smart plans. let me get right into this. So here, if you do this drop-down menu, you'll see that you could sort it by smart plan name, author name, or description. Let's go into description. Maybe we want to look at 19 touches. Nope. Let's look at open houses. Okay, so there's several here that other people have created, and I'm not seeing anything that makes me feel like, let's look at this. Open house version 1, open house. Let's look at their steps. So they have 5 touches. Day 1, they send an email immediately. Day 3, they send another email. Day 6, they send a text. Day 8, they send an email. Let's analyze this together. Do you feel that this is a strong way to touch or a weak way to touch? What's your personal opinion?
I would say, based on the information you have from the open house, if you have their phone number already, which it sounds like they might, I would start with the phone number instead of email. Email sounds like a passive kind of touch versus like a phone number, which is a little bit more kind of, it's not face to face, but I think that's kind of the next best thing before you can get face to face.
Agreed. I think it's powerful to be able to call them the very next day and say, hey, it was so nice meeting you guys at the open house. And I came across this one property I'd love to be able to send you. If you didn't happen to collect their email address, maybe it's a great opportunity to ask for that. Maybe if you get them on the phone or you're leaving them a voicemail message, say, hey, I'd love to send you something in the mail. What's a good mailing address for you? You can do that voice to voice. They can hear the inflection and the sincerity in your voice, right? So if it were me, I would plan to do open house follow-up that had the stronger touches like voice to voice. All right, I'm going to play with this KWIQ. And let's say I want to design, I can't see. I want to design an effective smart plan for lead follow-up after an open house. Let's say with 5 touches, 5 to 8 touches. Let's see what it says. So it actually works it out for you. Immediate follow-up. Like you can even do same day. You don't have to wait till very next day. And so it's taking you week by week, right? So let's look at what it said. So here, day 1, immediate follow-up. Personalized thank you message. Send a thank you email or text. Mention something specific from the conversation to make it personal. You know, like if they had a baby, oh, I hope the baby got her nap on time, or best of luck with the playoffs tonight. Provide value, include a link to additional property details, similar listings, or a market analysis. Hey, maybe you could even include a list of the next few open houses in the area, right? Or if you use the digital sign-in sheet, which by the way, we have in our resources for the PC coaching Google Drive. I actually have a link in there to help you work through that. You can ensure attendees are added to your CRM for tracking, right? So maybe I might change this up to even a phone call and then follow it up with a text. Your second touch, call or text. So maybe flip-flop it, whatever you think, right? Here, reach out to attendees to ask if they have questions about the property or if they're interested in other homes, and use this opportunity to identify their needs. Is it buying, selling, or both? Social media connection. Connect with attendees on social media platforms. Third touch, email with market insights. Direct mail or handwritten notes. And you can like interchange this. You see how this is on day 6? I would actually be writing the handwritten note same day as the open house and mail it out that Monday. That's my 2 cents there. And then a follow-up call. Maybe that's a week later, like inviting them to your next open house, right? And then next, you have a monthly email campaign, event invitation. Remember, we talked about the 19 touch. So once you've had a two-way conversation with them and they're going, you add them to that 19 connect. Is this helpful? So you can create your own. You can take that information. Let me move this. Right? Maybe you want to create your own. You go back here, you call it open house follow-up. You create a plan. And so it looks like this. Day 1, make a call. You drop it in here. And then you give it a task name, call. Maybe here you ask for their mailing address, right? It gives you opportunities to like add a merge tag. So you can merge names if you wanted to make it very personalized, right? And then if you can disregard that, but then when is this happening? When is the task due? So this is something that you can do. You can create a task, you can send an email, you can send a text, you can add them to a smart plan, and you can start to build it step by step. Make sense? Okay, so this is your opportunity to play around with that, explore, totally explore your command. Let me know if you guys have any questions or you need help with it. I also would like to say thank you so much. Thanks for pivoting with me today, especially with this crazy weather. And make your calls, make your contacts, connect with folks, and then we will connect tomorrow. Let me stop recording.